All right, I'll leave this for now. Hello, how's it going? Check something. Right now, when we expand a compound declaration, we export declarations, and those can have extract. Maybe we should mask that in some way. We need to export the declarations because why? Because we want identifiers to be able to point to the right place. Anyway, let's commit that. Commit, boom. Yeah. Boom. Just got up. Well, hello. What are we working on? This morning we were really just doing bug fixes. And then I think maybe the last one was also bug fixes. I don't remember. The last one was last night was 2 hours of compiler stuff, and then I decided to try Diablo 4 after that, which was sad. Um, yeah, but I think because I'm tired tonight, we're just going to stay with bug fixes. And then, I'm still, in terms of feature stuff, I'm still on the path of wanting to fill in the annoying things. And for example, I've got some things that are annoying here, like align directives still don't work on the stack. And you still can't have non-constant array literals, even though you can have non-constant struct literals now, right? Bytecode inlining still isn't turned on. And then there's a special feature we were talking about on the Discord that's super cool that I want to do soon, but I don't want to stream it for the usual reasons. Anyway, so I've got some new bug reports that came in the email. Let me go into high security mode here. Boom. iProf lock bug. That's not good. This one dude was using iProf and he found like 3 different problems, although 2 of them were new with the stuff that went into the last beta. And those are fixed now. Okay, and then someone else has a polymorph bug. But I'm not going to do that one yet. We're going to do the iProf bug. Right, so the problem is okay. Okay. Let's come back out of high security mode for a bit. So here's his repro. And I think what happened is, iProf, because it's inserting profiling code, it needs to be careful and not insert in certain places because those are pretty sensitive, right? And I think like we made default allocator after we did the latest pass on iProf. And iProf doesn't know to avoid default allocator now. And as a result, it sort of makes an infinite loop of, it instrumented this thing and then it calls it in the middle of instrumentation. All right, so init hash size, we're going to make this 4. Okay, so he wants me to compile this with dash plug iprof dash modules. Just compile, whoops, let's compile it with nothing. Lol. Oh, I didn't recompile after commenting now that assert. Okay. Dash plug iprof. Okay. Well, it works on my machine, dude. Oh, wait, I gotta run it. Lol. I guess we'll just wait. iProf definitely also triggers the modify procedure body bugs. Well, there were a couple new ones of those, I think, is the biggest issue because actually there were two that had to do with compound declarations because all that changed a lot. Uh, actually, like a month ago when I did that stuff, and then also this past week for the new assignment features. And then there was a problem with ifx that goes back to when I did the ifx revamp with the implicit expressions. And somebody caught that one. Now, we didn't catch those, and the reason is we have a couple iProf tests in the test file, but they don't turn off dead code elimination. And there is an issue where anytime I tried doing iProf with no dead code elimination, we fail to compile. Like it never gets to the point where it can insert its strings. So I kind of don't know what's going on there. And that's sort of on the list to look at because it would be nice or whoops, I didn't mean to do that. No, oh God, fuck you. All right, this one. We're going to run this and see if we get an exception from the debugger. Oh, maybe it's a deadlock? I don't... Anyway, so if we could run iProf with no dead code elimination, that would be a much better test, is the point. And it would surface more of those issues. Now, this is independent, of course, of the big issue we were talking about nested procedures and whatever should happen there. That is a separate thing. Okay. So yeah, he was saying init zone hash calls lock and right, default allocator spins. Oh, okay. So this is a new problem. See, default allocator used to call just, malloc in libc, and that's protected by a Windows critical section, which allows you to recurse into it. Okay. That is not true for this thing. Now, what we could do is use like context thread ID. Or something. That would just allow us to recurse, which maybe makes instrumentation easier. So this is one example of instrumentation, right? But you could imagine other ones that are made by people who are not on the compiler team, right? And so the question is, one way we could handle this is by having, iProf not profile default allocator module. Because, well, actually, I don't know. Right? Like, okay, so the problem is array reserve realloc default allocator proc. this is the runtime support stub. Yes. Okay. So this is this. This is in default allocator. This is allocate. Okay, and then in here, we're calling zone begin and heap extract new span. This is probably, like, we're probably calling zone begin in a bunch of places, but the lock wasn't held yet. This is probably the first time that the lock was held. Or something like that. Yeah, lock for scope, and then call this. Okay. So now here's the question. We could use context.threadID, thread index. But what if people mess that up? Do we want default allocator to fail? We could use the address of the context. But what if people mess that up? Like, what if people start multiple threads with the same context by pointer? Could that happen? I don't, not in a legit way. Not in a legit way. I'm tempted to do this experiment. Okay, so let's take a look. Let's implement it for giggles. Okay. Now the problem is this might be a smaller value than a pointer. This might be an S32. Oh, but we have a pointer version. Okay. Okay, so here we're going to say pointer is address of context base. I don't know if I can say address of context. We'll try that, but that's a little sketch. So if heap, we have atomic read. Atomic load. So if it's already pointer, nobody's allowed to change it, right? I think we can do that. Wait. Okay, lock as a void pointer. Oh. Yeah, putting all there. Hey, look, it works. Question is, did I hose anything? Good morning from Portugal. This girl that I'm dating a little bit is in Portugal right now. Looks like she's having a good time. Okay. Um, yeah. So I kind of want to run a release build of Sokoban, which will take a little bit to compile because that's going to stress the memory allocator a little more. So we'll do that. You'll buy a beer. I don't drink beer. So if you buy me a beer, it'll just sit there. How did that only take 4 seconds? Oh, because we overwrite. I need to fix that. We have our own build settings and we sort of ignore this one. It's kind of confusing. Okay. We're probably not going to run a full Benny test, especially because I haven't run one in a while, so I don't know how that's going to go. We're going to run it for a bit. How much? 86 seconds for LLVM. Yeah, but that's a release build, which, to be honest, I mean, LLVM is too slow, but I mean, optimization does take a little bit of time. And there's no comparison, like our x64 backend is much faster than that, but does not optimize. I mean, it sure seems like we're running the game, though. What camera do I use? It's a Sony A7 III. It's got 3 different digits, A7 and 3. What mic do I use? Samsung CO41U? I don't know. Samsung CO1U. Please never take carbon fiber submersible. I mean, dude, carbon fiber is a very brittle material. Like, I'm sure they had reasons why they thought it was a good idea. But, like, dude. I mean, I guess it was super, super thick carbon fiber, right? Wasn't it like 5-inch hull or something? Still, yeah, like that. Yeah. When used for what carbon fiber is good for, yeah, like car bodies that look totally sick. It's good for that. All right, I'm satisfied for now that this is working okay. Um, so that's good. I want to do one more little thing. I just want to know. Can I do that first of all? I don't even know if I can do that. I can. What? Default allocator has its own assert. I was like, wait, what? Right, obviously it has its own assert. Okay, so I could take the address of the context. I'm not going to do that anyway. In order to support recursion, we use the address of the context as our unique lock. What do we call it? Our unique lock handle. This will fail if you can somehow push the same address as the context in multiple threads. Hopefully there is not a way to do that. But honestly, I have thought about letting people push a pointer as the context, which would open this up to being a huge problem. So to be thought about. Okay, so let me go into high security mode here for a second again. I'm going to respond to the submitter. I have fixed this by allowing module's default allocator to lock if it to understand that it already holds a lock so it doesn't deadlock on recursion. This seems like a preferable approach because it maybe applies to all kinds of instrumentation that people might do if they have to manually factor out the allocator all the time. That's maybe a bummer. Okay. Okay. So I'm also going to say, send a mail to the dude who did this allocator. BTW, someone was having a problem with iProf and default allocator. I modify, there were cases when iProf would instrument the allocator and from down there it would allocate more memory, and this causes the lock function to hang because it is not recursible. I don't know if that's a word. So I modified it as follows. The lock macro to hang. Okay, so I'm going to send that just as an interesting correspondence. I might be tired enough that we call that the stream, that we just say it was a short stream. We had a good time. Any questions that anyone has? We'll run the tests one more time. Any technical questions? Tested compiling 250K lines code with Clang-03 and it took about 15 seconds. Well, there are definitely things that we can do to make it go faster. Like, for example, I mean, when you did the Clang-03, you're probably not doing like a Unity build, right? You're probably compiling a bunch of .o files on different cores, which is great. What we find is when we break, so, you know, we build everything in memory at once, right? But we can tell LLVM to treat it as if it's different .o files, and we can compile on different threads like that, right? The problem is our perf numbers go down substantially because it can't inline stuff and whatever, right? And so that's definitely a trade-off. Oh, you did a Unity build. Okay. Well, that's pretty good then. So yeah, I mean, maybe we can figure out some stuff to do that'll make it go faster. I certainly would like to make it go faster. Is it time to hide the linker wall of text? I just, like, that's just not trivial, and I haven't wanted to risk it. Just because we've had a lot of problems with that kind of thing. So, in fact, we still maybe have a problem with that kind of thing on Mac. So I don't know. Like, while I'm introducing other features that might add bugs, I kind of don't want to do that one. But that just means we're going to have some other features in this next beta. Oh, shit. Oh, damn it. We can't check this in. I realized, guys, I was a bad programmer and nobody called me out on it. Oops, I just realized that this is fucked because it leaves the lock unlocked after the inner recursion returns. I guess I'm surprised. Oh, you know, it's only stuff built with iProf that would demonstrate this problem. I'll show you what it is in a minute. Some complications to avoid that. Okay. Oops. All right, we're going to fix it. Guys, I can't believe nobody... What kind of programmers are you people? Okay, so the point is, if I lock for scope and go do some stuff and then go lock for scope, see down here, we always set the lock to null. So after the inner guy returns, the outer guy is going to be doing stuff to the heap and it's not fucking locked. Okay? So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go already locked is these are equal. All right. We're going to say if we're not already locked, already holding the lock. So we only reset it. All right. High security mode again for a second. Okay. So, what were we saying again? Can lock successfully if it already holds the lock. This means this permits it to be called by metaprogram insertions. By metaprogram that instrument the code without worrying so much about a deadlock. Do I still do the flattening queue thing for the dependency system? No, not exactly. It's different now, but the thing I'm doing now appears to be like a lot slower, so I might switch it back. Yeah. Like I thought the flattening was super smooth brain and stupid, but maybe it's better than what I'm doing now. Do you do any forward declaration? No. There's no such thing as forward declaration in this language. Except, okay, actually, it's not strictly true. We do a very, very small amount of forward declaration to bootstrap the compiler. Like when it's loading, you know, its own, like the start of its own standard library stuff. Its own, not standard library, like runtime. But there's only like there's 3 forward declarations in the whole language or something like that. And that's just because I haven't figured out yet how to get rid of them, but it's probably not that hard. I've had success from the job postings. For the Braid anniversary helper, yes. For the video person, not necessarily yet, but I got a bunch more replies that I have not looked at yet. Hopefully, we'll be able to look at them tomorrow. Yeah, forward declarations are for posers. And coffee is for closers. Do you first scan the names of the declares before trying to resolve what they actually mean? No. because um, you know, the thing that a variable is referring to could be in a faraway module that isn't done loading yet, for example. Dude, Twitch wants me to sign updated monetized streamer agreement available. What, are they going to change it to 10% for me and 90% for Jeff Bezos now? Do I have to fight Elon Musk in the octagon? I would probably win that fight. Unless he's been secretly training. What about against Zuck? I don't know. Like, I have basically no ground fighting, so it's about if I could avoid being taken down. Like, I think when jujitsu guys are not super experienced and they're just training each other and all that, they just kind of go to the ground because that's what they do, right? They're not like strikers. But if I don't want to go down, the question is, what skill level does it take to take me down? And I don't know the answer to that. But yeah, if it turns into ground fighting, I probably lose against Zuck, almost certainly. I have very little ground fighting ability. Would I be able to take Casey? I don't know. Casey might have been training in secret. How about Carmack? I don't know. I know Carmack's trained some stuff, but I don't know how much. How hard would it be to parallelize the compiler starting from its current implementation? Pretty hard, but not impossible. And that is on the roadmap. That said, C++ doesn't help you that much. So, you know, if we can figure out good ways to help with parallelization, maybe it makes sense to self-host first. That said, I don't think we offer enough more around parallelization relative to C++ to really make that the obvious choice. So the question is, what more can we figure out there? Is parallelization affected by the target architecture? Not really. Okay. I want to take the W on this. Scary change. Now handles locking while you already hold the lock so that instrumentation works better. It's really fun working on this compiler, guys. Oops. Yeah, we don't want to check that in. Like, I kind of wish my life were totally chill and this were my only job was working on the compiler. Unfortunately, I have all these other projects, but it's been a really fun project, and it can, like, especially, you know, like I said, these times when it's like let's make better all these things that were almost good. It just feels really good to like make them good. Casey versus Uncle Bob. I think Casey would win that one. Casey at least has rock climbing experience, which is not exactly fighting experience, but it is physical robustness experience, right? I work on the weekends sometimes. I work on most weekends. The question is just how many hours on the weekends. Usually it's reduced a bit. Coding compile time run. Yeah, it's not easy. And let me tell you, the more features you want to support in conjunction with compile time execution, the harder it gets. Any fun weekend project planned? I think this weekend, no, just because I was feeling a little burned out during the week, um, and wanting to take more of a break during the week, which is often a sign like, hey, I could have taken a break on the weekend like normal people. So I'm probably going to take a little more of a break this weekend. Um, but you know, coming up soon, there's definitely more ideas for weekend projects. Definitely. Grip strength on rock climbers is ridiculously useful when grappling. Interesting. Yeah, I mean, that is an interesting thing. It sounds plausible to me as well. I don't know how Casey's grip strength rates. Like, I know nothing about climbing. I've never been climbing. Um, so I couldn't tell you about that. All right, thanks for coming by. It was kind of a short stream, a little less than an hour. But you know, this is one of those things where it's like, hey, it's 10:30 p.m. Let's just fix a couple bugs before bed, right? And the great thing about that is then there's two less bugs tomorrow. Like we have enough. We literally just shipped a beta 2 days ago, and we have enough to ship a new beta now, but we're not gonna yet. You just got the notification for Twitch. It's sad. All right, thanks everyone. See you later on.